I want to tell you a story about a couple who wanted to get the most out of their retirement. They had saved a lot of money and they wanted to be able to enjoy that in retirement, as well as help their family throughout retirement and not have too big a balance left over at the end. Now, they had a plan run, and when they looked at this plan, what they saw was a chart with the value going up, 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 and it was a lot more at the end of their life than when they started retirement. And so they looked at that and said, well, that's not what we want. So they decided they would start spending more money in order to prevent themselves from just leaving it all to their family in 30 years. Now, they began to see that their accounts were going down faster than they thought. And so they came to me to say, what is going on? And I was able to determine very quickly that they were spending a little bit too much based on what they thought they could spend, looking at that chart on the piece of paper. And what we talked about is that you cannot spend all of the future value because you can't spend the growth that you haven't received yet. So you've got to determine if you want to spend more so that it doesn't become too big an amount down the road. You have to determine how much can you spend that is the right amount to spend that allows you to enjoy your retirement funds now without building too big a balance in the future, but also doesn't put you at jeopardy of running out of money. Now, when you're thinking about that in your own situation, you've got to put a plan together and test it. You need to know what happens if inflation is higher or if you live longer than you thought you would. What happens if the economy doesn't do what you thought it might, or what's projected in these numbers that are based on historical time periods? What happens if we have higher taxes? What happens if you have higher medical costs in the future and you need even long-term care possibly? You want to know what your plan would look like under these what-ifs that you really have no control over. Because if they come along, you want to still have a plan that succeeds. You want to be able to maintain yourself all the way to the end of life. And so it's important to run this plan multiple ways, testing the what-ifs, making sure that you know at different spending levels, how's that going to look for your situation? And how much cushion do you have? What adjustments would you need to make if this what if turned out to be our future reality? And in doing that, then you come up with the right number for spending currently that will keep you safe and secure throughout retirement. Now, I was able to do that with Bob and Sue, and we determined a number that they could spend, and it was more than they thought they would spend at the start of retirement, but it was less than they were trying to spend when they were just looking at the chart and guessing. But that number that they could spend gave them a lot of confidence and clarity in having the plan, knowing that they were spending a good amount, that they were not putting themselves in jeopardy, but then being able to enjoy it, to go on the trips together, to give to their kids, to their grandkids, and see the people that they care about actually enjoy the money now while they were here to see it, as opposed to leaving this big amount at the end that they didn't even get to see how it might be used. And so this gave them a lot of peace of mind that they were really being good stewards of their retirement for themselves and for their family. And so with that, when you're putting your plan together, be sure and run your numbers, run your what-ifs. Don't just guess at an amount that you can spend. Make sure you're spending the right amount that keeps you secure over your retirement, but allows you to do these things that you want to do while you're healthy and while you can see your family enjoy it. And if you have any questions, feel free to shoot me an email. I'll be happy to answer. And subscribe, like this video, and I'll do more of this kind, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss anything. Look forward to seeing you next time.